Hey everyone, welcome back into the Birdland Network where we talk all things Orioles and Major League Baseball. And today we're back with a brand new video. So the regular season is done and we are ready for the postseason. Of course, the Orioles did make the postseason as the #1 wild card team, so they'll be hosting the Kansas City Royals in the wild card round. And in today's video, we're going to do a position by position breakdown around both teams, and we're going to see who has the edge at each position. And then in the end, I'll give you my prediction of just this game of who I think is ultimately going to come out on top. Now remember, this is a 3-game series. All 3 games are in Baltimore because they are the higher seed. So let's get started. We're going to go position by position, kind of give our take on both sides, and then who we think has the advantage. But before we do that, if you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. And also, if you could, give us a thumbs up. Definitely helps the video. So let's get right into it. So we'll start with catcher. Now, of course, both teams are well equipped at the catcher position. For the Orioles, they have Adley Rutschman. During the season, he had 143 hits, 19 home runs, 79 RBIs, 250 hitter. He's good behind the plate, and of course, he's a leader in the clubhouse. His second half wasn't great, but he's still a great young player who is really, to be honest with you, the face of the Orioles. He's the guy that got the Orioles back in the winning mode when he came up. And of course, he was a 1-1 pick. He's really awesome. He's a great player. A little bit of a down year average-wise, but 19 home runs, 79 RBIs, 143 hits. He still had a really good year. Now, as for Kansas City, they have, of course, Salvador Perez. Veteran player. He's a team leader, and he's a good game caller. 160 hits this year, 27 home runs, 104 RBIs, and a 271 hitter. Excellent player. Obviously, he provides protection for Bobby Witt Jr. in the lineup, and he's just a great player as well. Of course, the Orioles have James McCann as the backup, but McCann probably won't play too much. He might play against a righty here or a lefty here and there. But to me, the advantage at catcher, as much as it pains me to say it, I probably have to go with Kansas City. Salvador Perez is a much more of a threat at bat than Adley is right now. And I just think his expertise and his experience is going to play out just a little bit more at the catcher position. So to me, at catcher, I'm going to give the advantage to Kansas City. Now we'll move over to first base. Now for first base, the Orioles have a couple different ways they can go. They have Ryan Mountcastle. He's going to probably be the primary first baseman, 128 hits, 13 home runs, 63 RBIs, 271 hitter, and a really good defender. When he was out of the lineup for the Orioles this year, defensively, they felt it. He's an excellent player. As for Kansas City, Vinny Pasquantino is going to be their first baseman more than likely. 130 hits, 19 home runs, 97 RBIs, 262 hitter. Numbers look better than Mountcastle's, but Ryan missed a lot of time due to injury. He's coming back, he's rested, he's healthy. So for me, at first base, I'm actually going to give the edge to the Orioles slightly because I just think Mountcastle is that much better defensively, and he's going to be a big addition to the Orioles, and he's going to be a big help over there at first base. So the advantage for the Orioles at first base. Now we'll move on to second base. Second base is one I think that actually, in my opinion, is one of the ones where I don't think there's much of a competition here. For the Orioles, Jordan Westburg, 110 hits, 18 home runs, 63 RBIs, 264 hitter. He's an all-star, great defender. He solidifies the offense, really good defensively. He's just your steady Eddie. I'll use a former Oriole reference there. Just a steady player. He's gonna be well depended on, and he just solidifies the lineup and makes the lineup that much deeper. As for the Kansas City Royals, Michael Massey, 86 hits, 14 home runs, 45 RBIs, a 259 hitter, or it could be Adam Frazier in limited time. But I think the edge definitely goes to the Orioles here at second base. Much better player, pedigree player in Jordan Westburg, in my opinion. So the Orioles at second base get the advantage. Now we'll move over to third base. This is an interesting one for me. For the Orioles, they really don't have what I would call a solid third baseman. Normally it would be Jordan Westburg, but Westburg's going to play second during the postseason. So I'm going to go, for the Orioles, it's going to be Ramon Arias who's going to get the bulk of the third base starts. Emmanuel Rivera, if he makes the postseason roster, might get some late inning or some maybe a start or so. But I think the bulk of it's going to go to Ramon Arias. 69 hits, 11 home runs, 37 RBIs. Normally he's a good defender. He wasn't that good this year. So we'll see how that plays out. He was coming on in September, and we'll see how that goes. For the Royals, Kansas City, Michael Garcia or DeLong is probably going to be, or DeJong will probably be the third baseman. Either are an upgrade over Arias, in my opinion. One of them has power, the other one has speed. So they're both going to be, I think, an upgrade over the Orioles there. So at third base, I give the advantage to Kansas City. Now we'll move on to shortstop. And of course, this is the marquee position for both teams. And to be honest with you, this is the hardest one to pick out of all of them. We'll start with the Orioles. Of course, they have Gunnar Henderson. He's American League Rookie of the Year last year. 177 hits, 118 runs scored, 37 RBIs, 37 home runs, 92 RBIs, 21 stolen bases, 281 average. Incredible speed and power combo. He's an all-star this year. Just a great player for the Orioles. He's led off for them. He's hit as, 3-hitter, 4-hitter. He's all over the place. He's getting better defensively at shortstop. Just a superstar player. And then, of course, you have Bobby Witt for Kansas City. And what else is there to say? 211 hits this year, 125 runs scored, 32 home runs, 109 RBIs, 31 stolen bases, and he hit .332. And this is a guy it's a possible MVP season right here for him. He could win the MVP. I could see it. So when you look at both of these guys, I'm going to kind of do a cop-out here, and I'm going to say this is a toss-up. I don't think either one of the teams have an advantage here. Bobby Witt's great. His numbers look a little bit better than Gunnar's, but I think the intangible behind Gunnar can't be overlooked. So in my opinion, I'm going to say this is a tie. All right, so now we're going to move on to the outfield, and we'll start in left field. So for the Orioles, of course, the left fielder's going to be the starter. It's going to be Colton Cowser. 121 hits this year, 24 home runs, 69 RBIs, 242 average. He's an American League Rookie of the Year candidate. Probably will win the award, but not. It's about 70%, I'd say. He's an excellent defender. He can steal a base. He's got a good arm. This guy is really, really good for the Orioles. Now, as for Kansas City, it's, Melendez or Tommy Pham are going to play out there. Tommy Pham does have some postseason experience as well, and they're both good ball players. But in my opinion, I think left field, the advantage has to go to the Orioles. This guy, Cowser's really done well for the Orioles this year. Again, he's a candidate, probably the leading candidate for American League Rookie of the Year. He's got some postseason experience, and I think he's going to be a big, big help to the Orioles. So left field, advantage, Orioles. Now we're going to move over to center field. So center field for the Orioles, of course, it's going to be Cedric Mullins. Mullins is a great hitter. He's been a little bit, well, not a great hitter. He's a good hitter for sure. He's had a little bit of a down year, but he's been much better of late, hitting a heck of a lot better late in August and into September than he was earlier on. But this is a guy that has power. He has speed. He's a plus defender in center field, and he just brings every aspect of the game to the game. And he's such a great hitter for the Orioles and can be clutch at times. As for the Kansas City Royals, Kyle Isbell will probably be the center fielder for them. Good player, good defense, but I think if it comes down to it, I'm going to have to pick Cedric Mullins in this one. So advantage in center field goes to the Orioles. Now we're going to head over to right field, and this is the one where it's probably the biggest advantage for one team over the other. For the Orioles, of course, it's Anthony Santander, 140 hits, 44 home runs, 102 RBIs, 235 average. He's been a much better defender this year, but he can be streaky at times. But this is a switch hitting, power hitting right fielder who plays good defense. He's got a good arm, and he can really carry and change a game. As for Kansas City, Hunter Renfroe, Adam Frazier, Tommy Pham, one of those guys is probably going to play right field for them. All good players who will contribute, but I think Anthony Santander easily wins this battle in right field. So in right field, this is a big one, and I think the Orioles definitely have the advantage with Anthony Santander. Now we'll move on to designated hitter. Both teams have several options at DH. For the Orioles, it's going to be Ryan O'Hearn or Ryan Mountcastle. depending upon which one of them is going to play first base. Or it could be the youngster Heston Kjerstad, who was the number 2 overall pick for the Orioles back in, I think, 2021 or 2022. All three are very productive players, and they will contribute. Malney, O'Hearn, Kjerstad all have power. They can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Real good hitters across the board. As for Kansas City, Gurriel, Grossman, Adam Frazier, all really good players. Again, they'll contribute. They'll make their presence known. But I think out of the group, I think Baltimore's better overall numbers during the season kind of play out here with the group they have. So for designated hitter, I'm going to give the advantage to the Orioles. Now we'll move on to the bullpens, and this is an interesting one here. So for the Orioles, inconsistency rules the day. They really don't have a legitimate closer. They've had bad numbers in the second half. They've had some inconsistencies, giving up runs. Inherited runners have scored, giving up runs late in games, blown some saves. But that said, this team can be dominant if they're on. As for Kansas City, the bullpen's been a weakness for pretty much the entire year for them, but they have been playing better recently. So this is a real tough one as well. This is a close. I don't think this is a strength for either team right now, but I do think of the two, it's more of a strength for the Orioles because of the versatility, the balance, and the experience that they have playoff-wise in the bullpens. So I'm going to give the slight edge to the Orioles in the bullpen. And then lastly, in the positions, we're going to go to starters. And this is, again, another one that's really, really close. For Kansas City, you have Seth Lugo, who was 16-3 with a 3.00 ERA. This year, Cole Reagan's 11-9 with a 3.14 ERA. Michael Wacha, 13-8 with a 3.35 ERA. That's more than likely going to be the 3 starters for Kansas City. For Baltimore, Corbin Burns, 15-9 with a 2.92 ERA. Zach Eflin, 5-2 with a 2.60 ERA since the Orioles traded for him. And Dean Kramer, 8-10 with a 4.10 ERA. All three of these guys for both teams are good pitchers who should pitch good games if they start, and it looks like they will. I probably would say Corbin Burns is the best of the group, but that being said, I think the balance goes a little bit more to Kansas City. Eflin is great, Corbin Burns is great, but Dean Kramer's iffy for the Orioles. I think he's the weakest link out of these 6 guys. So for me, the advantage in starters is going to go to Kansas City by a hair. So there you have it. That's our position by position analysis for both teams, who we think has the advantage at each one. And in the end, I got to go with the O's. I think the Orioles are going to win this wild card playoff matchup, and I actually think they're going to do it in 2 games. I don't think it'll go to the 3. I think the Orioles have enough experience, enough talent, 1 through 9 in the lineup. I think the bullpen will be better. I think the starters will keep them in games, and I think ultimately Baltimore will win this series in 2 games. So there you have it, folks. That's my position by position breakdown of the Orioles-Kansas City playoff matchup coming up starting Tuesday afternoon. Now I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Who has the advantage at the positions? Who do you think is going to win this series? I'd love to hear from you. Just leave a comment below. Be sure to give us a subscribe if you're new here, and a like. It definitely helps the video. But until then, hope everybody has a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the playoffs. It's going to be a fun time for sure. Stressful, but fun. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll talk to you soon.